Hey everybody, it's Tuesday and here I am with something for you to make again this week. So today we're going to be making some steamed vegetable dumplings in your Instant Pot. So we're actually going to use the steamer setting, which you don't use very often. And if you notice me kind of moving around, my big 70-pound dog is in between my legs right now. So I'm going to be trying to step over her during this video, it looks like. So my goals for today are that you know that you can steam dumplings in your Instant Pot because it's super easy, it's quick, and you can do this with frozen dumplings as well. And I want you to know that you can indeed make dumplings. So I will be the first one to tell you right now that I certainly was not shown by a master dumpling maker, or all I've done is look at a couple of YouTube videos. Mine are not gorgeous, they're not amazing swans, but you know what? They're a really delicious dinner. So what I'm going to show you today is how to make a quick and easy filling. Then we're going to put some filling in the dumplings, and then hopefully everything's timed right and the dumplings I made a little bit early will be ready to show you. Now the thing to remember is perfection is not what's important here. Having a yummy dinner is what's important here. If you want your dumplings to be perfect, I would look for a class in your area and see if you can find someone. If you're really interested, I will see if I can get my friend Nancy McDermott to come on with me, because she does lots of Thai and Asian food, and she has a way better grasp of it than I do. But again, I'm not looking for the most perfect one. I'm looking for the one that's going to be my dinner tonight. So let's go ahead and start off, and I'll talk to you a little about the filling. I'll see if I can move the dog just ever so slightly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sauteing these vegetables. This recipe is on plantbasedinstantpot.com, which is my new site. And I'm using this, and I've already made some. So in the recipe it says you can use oil or not. So of course you don't have to use oil. Anytime I move a recipe over from one place to another, don't feel like you need to use oil if that's not something you do. So this is about a cup and a half, no, a cup of shiitake mushrooms. Now, a cup of shiitake mushrooms sounds pretty expensive, but if you're at the Asian market, you can get them really inexpensively, and they're really big ones that are beautiful. And actually, while this is kind of starting to do its thing, I will show you some of those. I have a few still in the fridge. It's just going to take a little while. Okay, so see this big giant bag? It's bigger than my head. This bag was probably about $5, and it was almost all the way full. And one thing that I noticed, let's find a really pretty one to show you. Oh, that one's pretty. Is this really big, thick caps, and they're very fresh and yummy because they go through them faster than they do at the normal grocery store. So what I usually do is I cut off the stems. You can use the stems. There's nothing wrong with them, but I cut off the stems and then I'll save them for a broth. So that's really all that is. So when you're going to the Asian market, which is probably what you're going to do anyhow. Hi Kelly, thanks so much for joining us today. And everybody, I see there's quite a few people on today. Feel free to say hi. And also, please ask any questions you have as we go along. So, and I would love to know, do you know where there's a specialty Asian store near you? Is that a possibility at all? And if it's not, don't spend $10 on a cup of shiitake mushrooms to cut up, okay? What I would rather you do is just get some regular button mushrooms, because those will work just as fine. Now, finding vegan wrappers can be a little bit harder. So I go to the Asian grocery to find the vegan wrappers that we're going to use, and you'll see those in a little bit. I've also, of all the weird places in the world, the ones at Walmart, and I believe it's Melissa's brand, and keep reading the labels because they change those. Those are also kind of accidentally vegan. So if you don't have access to an Asian market, you probably have a Walmart somewhere near you, and you could just pick up some inexpensive button mushrooms and some of their vegan wrappers. These are kind of starting to go. These are a little bit drier, mostly because I bought them maybe a week ago instead of fresh. So they'd be putting out a little bit more juice. So typically, I would go ahead and saute those all the way down, but I'm just going to do it all at the same time. I'm feeling crazy. It's a crazy kind of day. So this is just some cabbage that I shredded. So cabbage is super inexpensive. Oh, awesome. Susanna says there's an Asian grocery store in southern Indiana. Hi, Jackie. It's good to see you again. So do you guys, and with this filling, this is one filling that you could make for your dumplings. Another thing you could do, like let's say you made a really yummy stir fry or maybe some kung pao tofu or soy curls, you could chop all that nonsense up, and if it doesn't have cabbage, I would saute some cabbage to go in it, just because I think it's nice, it adds bulk, and it's a good way for me to get cabbage in cabbage-hating Cheryl. So I'm an advocate for things like cabbage and dumplings. And so see how the vegetables are letting off a little bit of their liquid? You could have started this with some oil if you wanted to. It's not necessary, and I don't think it really helps the flavors that much personally. But you should do you and make it the way you like it. So carrots are also always on hand and easy to do. Let's say I didn't have mushrooms. Maybe I would go ahead and chop up some tofu to put in here. That would be something that would be really delicious. Norma, you're saying the video hasn't started yet? It kind of has, because it says it's live on my side. Now, I'm not sure if it's only on the Plant-Based Instant Pot Facebook page, which should be on all the alerts. But also, if it comes in and out or you guys have to leave for a few minutes, yay, that's the sound of my dumplings being steamed and done, which I was a little worried about. And so basically, again, you could use tofu, you could use anything you want. You could just use this and go no further, but I like to add some flavor inside the dumpling. So you really have a choice. You can add it inside, or you can make a dipping sauce. And a dipping sauce I usually make is probably about 1 part soy or Bragg's to 2 parts rice vinegar with maybe a 1/4 teaspoon grated ginger in there. And sometimes I put some sriracha in there too. And so you just want to cook this down a little bit. Now I'm going to go ahead and put in some fresh ginger. So I'm using a teaspoon of grated ginger, and I'm cheating. I'm using this guy. And you can also get these at the Asian market or an Indian market, but I think I got this at Whole Foods and paid a premium for it. Then I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce. And again, you could certainly use Bragg's or coconut aminos instead. And this is about a tablespoon of rice wine vinegar. Let me stir this and then I'll tell you a little more about the rice wine vinegar. Can you guys see anything through all the steam? Stir frying is exciting, isn't it? And I wish you could smell this right now, because what you smell in all this steam is kind of that dark umami from the mushrooms, the sweetness of the ginger, and you can almost even smell this kind of salty, vinegary smell as well from the rest of the sauce. And so as you see, that also helped, adding this in helped steam all this up. And so what you want to watch for is for things not to burn, and on this it burns a little bit more. So I'm actually going to turn this off now. And I have some that I made a little bit earlier, so since it's cool, we're going to use that. So I'm just setting that aside on my stove, and I'm looking for a rag to wipe up the soy sauce, which I should have already had here because I'm messy. You guys know that, right? Oh, and that's a great point. Pamela has a good point too. If you don't want to buy ginger that's already been done for you, and I don't always have it on hand, but if I'm working on a lot of recipes, I do. But you certainly can, you can actually take a knob of ginger and just stick it in the freezer when you come home so that you always have ginger. Now, Pamela is being more forward thinking than I am sometimes, and she's saying you could go ahead and peel it and then freeze it. I've also gone ahead and tried to prep a whole thing of it and just gone ahead and either used a ginger grater. Let me see. Oh, here we go. So a ginger grater is just this porcelain piece, and these are kind of sharp. So what you do after you peel the ginger is you just go like this, and it grates up, and you can use a little spoon and get the ginger out. So it makes it really quick, honestly. Okay, getting other dumpling goodies ready over here. So, and Heather loves vegetable dumplings. Oh, the dog moved, and I think I just stepped on her, but she didn't seem to mind, so sorry about that. Okay, so other fillings that you could use. One of my favorite dumplings used to be at Whole Foods, but I think it was like over 10 years ago. Does anybody remember the barbecue tofu dumplings that they used to have in the Whole Foods freezer section? Because that was one of my favorites. So to do that would be even way easier than this. Yeah, and you know what, Jackie? Ginger graters are not very expensive. And also you can pick them up a lot of times at secondhand stores because I think people give them as gifts and the people who receive them don't actually use them very much. You can also get them inexpensive at the Asian market. So those are two great sources for a ginger grater. Now back to, do you guys, anybody here remember the barbecue tofu dumplings? Okay, well, it would be really easy to do. All you would have to do is take some firm or extra firm tofu, crumble it, and mix it with your favorite barbecue sauce. And then that would be a filling. You could use leftover Chinese food for a filling. You could just do mushrooms. You could just do tofu. You could do all kinds of things, really. You could do some minced soy curls. And what I'd recommend that you do, one of the things that I do when I'm making food that's new to me is I try to look at authentic recipes to get some ideas of flavors. So I might go ahead and look, actually, I wonder if I've seen this before because it sounds familiar. Like I think I saw something like a chicken lemongrass Thai dumpling. And what I would do is just use soy curls or super firm tofu crumbled up. And probably, ooh, it would be really good if you made it with a little red curry paste. That would be good. Maybe that's what I'll try after we get off of this live. But now, back to dumplings. So this is the filling I made before. It looks remarkably like the filling you just saw. This is a little bowl of water. Nothing but water. And you can see I made my dumplings here. And see all this? That's actually cornstarch. And there's lots of cornstarch in the dumpling wrappers. And so these are the ones that I got at the Asian market. And you get kind of a ton of them. I mean, that's a lot. So you're probably, unless you have a big family, you probably aren't going to eat all those right now, right? Let me go ahead and count 6 of these out. So what I do is count about 6 of them out, even if I'm making more. And then I put them back in a Ziploc bag. You could also use a resealable container of any kind. You just want to keep those really, really from drying out because they're already kind of dry. They're just dough. They're dough that's already been rolled out for you and made. But see, that's a lot of cornstarch. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our finger, dip it in the water, and then we're going to go around all the edges. And we may even need more water than that. And then I'm going to put about a tablespoon of filling in there. And so the amount of filling goes pretty far. Then you can kind of move this. You gather these up, right? Kind of make them match. And you want to kind of pretend it's like a little pie pastry or something, right? You just want to make sure it's sealed. Now, sometimes the little ends don't want to seal, and what I'll do is I'll put a little more water on there, and sometimes that helps. Okay, Jackie wants to know, how long will the dumplings keep? I would not keep the dumplings unsteamed probably for more than a day or two, maybe a day, because they're going to dry out. So, but what I do is I steam them, and then I go ahead and put them in the freezer then and just re-steam them. Or you could put them in the freezer just like this too, actually. Yeah, I think that's what I would do. I would either steam them at half the time, but that's probably going to get super messy, so I don't know why I even started talking about that. So let's just nix that. If you would like to save these, let's freeze them at this point. So I would put them in a container or something. And all I do is just kind of fold these a little bit so that I look like I'm trying to make an effort. But you know what? Dumplings that don't have any folds in them taste just as good. So again, and this is a good amount of water. Can you guys see that? Maybe with the light at least. That I'm not just being delicate. I'm trying to really put it on there. So in the freezer, these dumplings will store, I would think, at least a month. Probably longer, honestly. So again, we're going to take these, and I try to touch them together at the top first. And that was a little piece of cabbage, I'm not sure if you could see that, that was going to be in my way. So I just took that out. And it will go into either another dumpling or, oh, how long will the wrappers last? Okay, the wrappers will last for at least a week. And the thing is you can freeze them as well. So when I go to my Asian market, see, this guy just does not want to cooperate with me. So we're gonna put some more water on his edges. And so there I can either get them that are fresh, and the reason I'm kind of air quoting fresh is they have them frozen, and I'm pretty sure they take them out of frozen and let some of them thaw, because I've had them half thawed. So I actually grab an extra pack whenever I'm there that's already in the freezer and pop it in my freezer. So Jackie, I hope that helps. All right, now back to the stubborn dumpling that does not want to do my bidding. And so this one, I may just be happy it's together. And the thing is you can also kind of touch these up later. So when I'm going to put them in the actual Instant Pot, so this one's only going to have 2 plates. And you know what? The world is not going to end. Does anybody else feel super offended by that? Because I hope not. And if you are a super, super dumpling folder, then I would love to hear from you. And maybe you can give me some of your tips about how to do this more elegantly. Okay. So once you have the filling, you could even do the filling a day or 2 before if you wanted to, and wanted to have these maybe for a party or something. And so I just always start by closing it up like this, just to make sure that there's some sort of chance that this is going to stay closed. And at first, it's going to be more of a struggle than later. So your first dumplings are not going to look as good as your last dumplings, probably. But you know what? They're going to taste as good, and that's what's really important. So there's another one. Do you guys have any questions about actually folding the dumplings and putting the stuff in there? Typically, and actually I'll read on here, these wrappers have wheat flour, water, cornstarch, and salt in them. And so what you have to see is sometimes there'll be white ones like these and yellow ones in the Asian market, and it could be that both of them are egg-free. It could be that they're not. So always, always read your labels. If you don't want to use white flour, you're going to have to make your own. Well, sure, I can make a quick dipping sauce today. Do I have? Yeah, I pretty much have everything here. I can do that and put it in a little jar because this is what we're having for dinner tonight. So Cheryl will appreciate a nice dipping sauce. Good point, Jackie. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show you, before I make the dipping sauce, let me move these guys, and see how this one's kind of coming apart. So if I was putting this in a steamer right now, I just pinch it again. And that's what I did with these. So we'll see what happens. Let me move this. Let's look in. And we get to, once again, release the steam. It's probably going to not take much at all. I don't know if there's enough for my dragon to even. Yeah, there we go. Can you guys see some of the steam from the dragon? Oh. Because I know you guys like the dragon. Okay. So there's lots of different ways that you can use to steam in here. And I seem to not be able to find any of mine. So I used just a vegetable steamer. And the papers I used are really awesome. And if you have an air fryer, they're great too. You can get these at the Asian market as well. And they're just little parchments with holes, so it still gets the benefit of steaming. But dumplings stick to everything. And so I find them really, really nice to have. And they're really good in the air fryer too. So like if you're making something that's battered, you can put that down, put the battered food on top. When you're ready to flip it, just flip over the paper and peel it. Because then the top side will be dry and won't stick as much. You don't have to do that. It just makes things a lot easier. So that's my 2 cents. So here we are with some dumplings. And so they stayed together pretty good. And what you can feel that I don't think you can see is that it feels really kind of thick here, and it still feels a little more gooey there. So I did 6 dumplings. And let me get a pot holder. What is it? You guys should always use your little pot holder things to grab the edges. I'm a daredevil. Don't be a daredevil like me. Be safe and don't burn your hands. So the cool thing is, with this little liner, I could even just put it up and put it in a little bamboo thing and serve it just like they do at dim sum. It'll make it look even more fancy. So we all know that I'm all about the fancy. And see, I'm not a great dumpling folder, but these look fine. They look good. I'd be happy if I got them in any place, any restaurant. And see, this one didn't quite close all the way, but it's still fine. So again, the main purpose of me doing this today is to get you over this kind of dumpling fear, because it's just not that hard. And some days they'll be prettier than others. And what I usually do is then I would serve this and maybe have either some steamed edamame or something like that. I'm going to grab one more thing from the fridge and have something fall out of the fridge. Okay, so this is how I would make a dipping sauce. I do it by eyeball. So I probably, again, use about 1 to 2, so like 1 portion soy sauce to 2 portions rice wine vinegar. And I did say I would talk about this again too. You can get rice vinegar that has no sodium and no sugar. And Jackie, the steam time is 7 minutes. And you could do this on steam. You can also do it just on regular pressure, but it's kind of fun to use the steam function because you don't usually get to use it. Also, know that when you put this in the pot, there's water in the bottom, because there's always water in the bottom, right, when we use our Instant Pot. Always watering the bottom. It's the way it comes up to pressure. You'll remember that when you're steaming, but if you don't have water in there, it will not work. So you're going to put some water. You could even have a metal rack and then have a bamboo steamer that fits in. You don't have to use the lid. So a lot of times, and I don't know where my bamboo steamer is, and I'm not really sure why. So that's what I've done before. So I could do 2 layers. And that's kind of a nice way. It's a nice presentation to serve it that way. You could use a metal steamer. You could use a silicone steamer. But yeah, 7 minutes. And then usually I just go ahead and do carefully manual release the pressure. So hopefully that helps. So any more questions about the dumplings, keep them coming. So the sauce that I'm doing is about 1 part organic soy sauce. And of course you could use gluten-free soy sauce, you could use tamari, you can use Bragg's liquid aminos, you could also use coconut aminos. And then I'm going to just throw in some ginger. Sometimes I will put in a little bit of garlic. That's probably a teaspoon. I think it's a whole teaspoon. And so I like it when it starts to look kind of cloudy. You guys can't see that very well. And I'm still not sure if you can. Yeah, or at least I can't see it on my computer screen. And then I'll put a little bit of sriracha. And sriracha is just kind of a garlic chili sauce. If you guys haven't had it before, you could put a thick chili garlic sauce. You could put chili oil. And you can make this as hot as you want to. And usually what I do is I make 2 batches. I make 1 for Cheryl, who doesn't like spicy foods, and 1 for me. So let me taste this. Okay, so when you do it this way and you taste it, what you're looking for is, does it taste a little too vinegary? Does it taste too salty? What do I need to adjust? And I taste more vinegar than I want to. So I'm going to go ahead and top it off with some more soy sauce. The rest of our soy sauce. And we have another bottle somewhere if I need it. And we'll get a different tasting spoon. And that's where I want it to be. So I taste a little bit of the vinegar tang at the end. So just a little bit. And then it's got enough salt, but it doesn't taste overly salty. So that's what I'm looking for my taste. I could even do a little more ginger than that because I just can't get enough ginger and dumplings. So I put ginger in my dumplings. I put ginger in my sauce. And I just like that kind of bright flavor that it brings. It's just really, I don't know, to me it really elevates it a lot, and it elevates your sauce. With the sriracha, since it already has garlic, it adds a little bit of that too. You could, what else could you put in there? You probably could put anything you wanted to. You could add some chopped garlic, you could add some scallions, you could add any kind of hot sauce that you want. The most important thing is while you're making it is to taste it. Even if you're using somebody else's recipe, taste it and then decide, is this really what I want right now? Because that's the most important thing. Because it's your dinner, right? It's not my dinner. If my sauce is exactly the way I want it, that's great for my household, but it may not be great for your household. So cooking is a little bit of trying everything until you just find exactly what's right for you in that moment. This dipping sauce is right for me right now. Tonight I'll taste it and I'll probably mess with it again. And that's what I do with all my recipes as well. But hopefully you guys feel a lot more comfortable kind of going out on a limb, trying something new, going to the Asian market. And again, you're looking for dumpling wrappers. And one other thing, these are, I don't remember what the other ones, these are Shanghai style because they have about 4 or 5 different kinds. I like the round ones because they're a little easier for me to fold than trying to fold the square ones. But some of them are a little thicker than others. And I find that these thinner ones, I like them better. especially, you could also air fry these and make crunchy dumplings. You could do them on normal, like kind of half steam, half fry in a pan. So the way that would work is when you make the dumplings, you would have like the same size saute pan that I did. Maybe have put some water in there, have the heat up, let it start to bubble, and then you'll put a lid on it and let them steam until the water's gone, and you'll have a crunchy bottom. But here's the thing, if you're not using oil, please use a nonstick pan or you'll never get this off. And you have to be really careful because it's going to go from nice and toasty brown to over toasty pretty quick. So anyhow, but I steam mine all the time, and I use my Instant Pot because it's there and it doesn't heat up the house, which is a really good thing right now. So you could make the sauteed part in your Instant Pot the day before and then just put them together. But I want to keep you from like really heating up your house and using up too much air conditioning money this year. That's a goal of mine, and I'm sure it's a goal of yours. So if you guys have more questions, please keep posting them under the video. And as soon as I get off, I will go ahead and put the link to this recipe on plantbasedinstantpot.com, which is my new site, which is all plant-based Instant Pot stuff. So I'd love it if you went there and share it with your friends and maybe sign up for the mailing list because it's all going to be Instant Pot stuff all the time. Okay, and I hope you guys have a great week. And I'm actually going to be on Chef AJ's show tomorrow, so look for that. I'll post it around on Facebook as well. And I'll be doing some air frying and Instant Potting and who knows what else. Oh, and I'm going to make this special, Ultimate Weight Loss Diet Ranch Dressing, which has no soy, no nuts, no avocado, and this, I'll tell you the secret base ingredient. Okay? You guys have a great week, and I will talk to you next week.